the two captains meeting with the referee, Michael Oliver in the centre circle, Michael Keane and Cesar Azpilicueta, as a huge Chelsea flag is unfurled over the heads of the fans in the lower tier of the Matthew Harding stand, away to our right hand side. London's first, London's finest, the pride of London, it says, with the Chelsea lion rampant. And this is an opportunity for Chelsea to try and keep pace with Manchester City at the top of the table, of course. They were top for 9 weeks before that loss against West Ham. And their defence, which looked impregnable in the opening weeks of the season, has allowed a number of goals in recent times against some of the lesser lights in the Premier League. But this is an opportunity for Chelsea to maybe right a few wrongs here this evening against an Everton team which has a number of unfamiliar faces in it. Players like Ellis Sims, Jared Branthwaite, John Joe Kenny and Anthony Gordon coming into a side lacking confidence, and it will be fascinating to see if they can raise themselves and also raise Everton's spirits in what has been a very difficult season for them so far. Andre Gomez will get the game underway. Everton in their chain strip of white shirts with a black stripe down the middle, black shorts and black socks. Chelsea, of course, in all blue. 2 games remain in the Premier League this evening. Over on TalkSport, it is Liverpool against Newcastle at 8 o'clock. And here on TalkSport 2, both sets of players and officials take the knee, and we are underway at Stamford Bridge. Everton playing from left to right in the first half, attacking the Matthew Harding stand away to our right-hand side as we look out from the top tier of the huge, cavernous east stand here at Stamford Bridge. 2 sides with very different ambitions at the moment. Chelsea looking to close the gap on those above them. Everton just looking to keep that daylight between themselves and the bottom 3 as it's flicked on by Sims, wearing number 50, the Everton striker, on the far side, straight out of play, and it will be a throw-in for Chelsea. And Ellis Sims had a good record at Blackpool, Trevor. Of course, you would have seen him play at Bloomfield Road.
Yeah.
And it's very important that Everton don't allow him to become isolated here tonight.
Absolutely. And for him as well, he's got to adjust his position. If the team are deep, there's no point in just staying up top and not giving anything to the team. So I'd expect him to drop deep into that number 10 position and find a little bit of space so that when Everton do win the ball, he's in a good position to receive it and look after it. And one thing I did notice about him playing for Blackpool, I know it's a different level, he was very calm in possession. He's a big unit. He's over 6 foot, and he's got to use that size to make sure he shields the ball and win 3 kicks and just take the pressure off that Chelsea and Everton are going to put him under.
Well, he's built on similar lines to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and Everton will be hoping that he has a similar impact on their team. Rudiger now for Chelsea, long ball towards the left-hand side, looking for Pulisic, but Keane will come across. Pulisic almost kept the ball in play and picked the pocket of Keane, but the ball had spun out on this near side, and it will be a throw-in to Everton by the corner flag on this near side there, right. Fans still on their way into the stadium, but there are hundreds of empty seats inside Stamford Bridge tonight.
Good atmosphere though, Nigel.
Absolutely.
You can sense there's a bit of excitement. Chelsea have got a good chance to close that gap at the top of the table to Manchester City. I think Michael Keane just chasing Pulisic there into the corner was a relieved man when the linesman put his flag up to say the ball had gone out of play.
2 minutes played, 0-0. James losing out to Gomez. Everton will try and break with the flame-haired Gordon wide to this near side and down the line from Kenny, but straight out of play. But Gordon applauds the intention, and it will be a throw-in to Chelsea on this near side.
Interesting to see that it's Pulisic who's in that number 9 position. He looks the highest or the furthest playing forward for Chelsea, but I'm sure they're going to rotate, very similar to Manchester City. You don't know who to pick up as a defender, and that'll be a real task all evening for this Everton back 5.
Long throw down the line on this near side for Everton, played in field but cut out by Jorginho, and there is no lack of height in the Everton team this evening. Branthwaite, Keane alongside Holgate are 3 physically imposing central defenders, and they are up against 3 slightly built rather small Chelsea attackers, so it should be a fascinating battle. Here is Ziyech back towards Rudiger. And now Loftus-Cheek, who has been given time to turn. Everton just standing off in the centre circle. Now Ziyech. Wide to Alonso on this near side. 3.5 minutes played. Chelsea 0, Everton 0. A high ball played forward by Jorginho, looking for Mason Mount, who had made the run in field from the right-hand side. But it's one bounce into the arms of Jordan Pickford, wearing all orange, defending the Everton goal away to our left-hand side.
Yeah, Jared Branthwaite read that situation well. He tracked the man into the box. He could see that he had no chance of getting there, and just had that spatial awareness of knowing that if he let it go, the keeper was in a good position to collect it, and he did just that. Nice and calm defending from the young man.
Well, this fixture over recent years has usually been won by the home team. The away side has only had success once in the last 13 meetings, and that was when Chelsea won at Goodison Park by 3-0 back in 2017, and the away side has only scored 1 goal in the last 8 games between these two clubs, and it wouldn't be a huge surprise if that record was maintained here this evening. But Everton looking to break on the far side with Godfrey, quickly transferred on to Gordon, who spins away from Azpilicueta, needs support, finds it from Godfrey. Gomez in field now, almost on the left corner of the Chelsea penalty area, but he's robbed by Loftus-Cheek, and Ziyech will bring it forward now over the halfway line for Chelsea again, but he's quickly crowded out. Godfrey came across to make the challenge. Doucouré will try and bring it clear, and now Andre Gomez quickly challenged by Jorginho. Ziyech now for Chelsea in the central area, 25 yards out, back again towards Jorginho. Great run made forward by James into the penalty area, and he lost the shot too high. It was wonderful thinking there from the Chelsea wing back, but the finish was lacking.
Oh, brilliant pass, disguised pass, little slip ball inside the defenders, out to win run from Reece James. I was just waiting for the net to burst. Just got a little bit too much purchase, and it went over the bar. Great opportunity for him. He'll be disappointed with that because his finishing's been superb this season. Already scored 5 goals, and he could have added to it there.
And that will be a concern for Rafa Benitez, how easy it was for James to make that run in field. Everton have a team full of defenders, but this defensive unit will not have played together before, and there was a lack of communication there between Branthwaite and Godfrey out on the left-hand side. Now Iwobi looks to win it back, and it spins to John Joe Kenny, and he looks to shape a pass wide to the far side where he's found Gordon, and now Gomez steps in, but it's cleared away by Azpilicueta. Just strikes the heel of Mount on the halfway line, and Doucouré has it for Everton once again. Good ball played forward by Branthwaite, looking for Sims, who goes down under the challenge of Thiago Silva. Two players at opposite ends of their career, and no free kick given by Michael Oliver.
Yeah, it was a good ball into Ellis Sims. I think Thiago Silva was using all his experience. He was very tight behind the player when he got the ball, and just made sure that first touch bounced off him. No foul was given, quite rightly so, by referee Michael Oliver.
Now the Chelsea captain, Azpilicueta, infield towards Thiago Silva again, and this Everton team is really shorn of so many big names. They have 2 goalkeepers on the bench, and even then they've not been able to fill it for Premier League games. And it's a rather lopsided Everton team in terms of experience and also personnel. There are plenty of square pegs and round holes, but it is all about showing character on a night like tonight. 7.5 minutes played, 0-0. James now in a central area for Chelsea, bearing down on goal, wide to the far side. Low shot across the face of goal, and it's just wide from Mason Mount, and Chelsea inches away once again.
Yeah, good run. Showing his real physicality, the way that he moves with the ball. Such a powerful runner. Reece James chops across the player. He can't touch him, else it's going to be a foul. Good way to pass. If anything, it's a little bit behind Mason Mount. He digs the shot out in the end. It's just the angle was going against him a little bit. I think he nutmegs one of the defenders, and it whistles past the far post. But another great opportunity carved out by this Chelsea side.
And Reece James really is the archetypal modern footballer. Can play anywhere in the team, it seems. And we welcome listeners from TalkSport to Stamford Bridge. 8 minutes played, 0-0 here, but Chelsea going close on 2 occasions. Reece James played through by a perceptive ball from Jorginho, lofting a shot too high, and then James involved again in the movement which led to the shot from Mason Mount, which was drilled low and hard and just wide. And Trevor Sinclair, Chelsea, understandably perhaps the dominant team so far.
Yeah, absolutely, but listen, Everton, they've got to make sure they don't concede early. There was a lot of panic there for both of them opportunities that Everton made, because if Chelsea do get in front, this could be a really difficult night for Everton.
Gordon with a high ball forward now. It's headed towards goal by Branthwaite, but the flag has been raised for offside. And commentary on this game continues on TalkSport 2. We have played 9 minutes and it's goalless at Stamford Bridge. And Everton not making the most of the set piece there. And they may not get too many opportunities from open play here this evening.
Have to really try and make them pay. Get plenty of bodies in the box, try and get first contacts onto the cross.
Mason Mount brings a ball down with a silky first touch, delivers a cross into the area where it's just hoofed away by Michael Keane, and it will be a throw into Chelsea, but the close control there from Mount was really something to behold as he brought the ball down. And Jared Branthwaite, the teenage central defender, is going to have a very difficult evening, looking to try and pick up defenders. Through much of his development, he may have been used to marking a centre forward, but there's no centre forward tonight, and some very elusive runners.
And very fast players. I think Mason Mount there showed that he's got a turn of pace as well, and he'll have to be aware of that, because a lot of people look at Mason Mount and think, why does he get so many goals, or they can't understand what his real strengths are. He's good at everything, and one of them things is he's very quick.
Everton with 4 defeats in 5, 1 win in 10. Ziyech now with a lovely turn on this near side, the left, pulls it into the penalty area, flick towards goal, and arrogant black flick almost from Christian Pulisic, but he got too much on it in the end, and it was gathered by Pickford.
Yeah, great turn, no touch turn, let it run through his legs there by Ziyech, done the defender like a kipper, drove into the edge of the box, put a decent cross in, it's just a little bit behind Pulisic, and he's tried to use his left foot coming in from the left hand side to try and Cruyff it behind him, and Jordan was aware of that, and Pickford made the save.
And you're listening to Chelsea against Everton on TalkSport 2 with Now. And don't forget, with a Now Sports Day membership, you can stream all the Sky Sports action, including Leeds versus Arsenal, live this Saturday for just $9.99 without a contract. Search Now Sports. And a reminder, 5 Premier League games have already been postponed this weekend. Manchester United against Brighton, the lunchtime game on Saturday. Everton against Leicester, the noon kick-off on Sunday. They have gone, along with Southampton against Brentford, Watford against Palace, and West Ham against Norwich. All of those games have been postponed due to various COVID-19 issues. The only match is still on Saturday. The match between Aston Villa and Burnley, which is the 3 o'clock kick-off here on TalkSport 2, and Leeds against Arsenal, which will be at 5:30 on TalkSport. Middlesbrough against Bournemouth on TalkSport 2 is scheduled to be live at 12:30. Pulisic now, wide towards Ziyech, another cross, fist across the area, and this time Pickford got a touch on it, and it's behind for a corner.
Yeah, it's good little link-up play. Everton were unable to deal with the ball in. I think Branthwaite made a good decision to head the ball and not let it bounce. The second balls, as you usually see by good teams, are picked up by a Chelsea player. It goes to Ziyech, and he's from an angle, he just tries to hit that far post, and it's a decent fingertip save by Jordan Pickford.
In swinging corner for Chelsea towards the near post, nodded away by Gomez, and on the turn, Gordon will just slash the ball outside the penalty area, and as a result, Chelsea have the throw-in level with the edge of the Everton box on this near side there left. 12 minutes played on TalkSport 2, 0-0 at Stamford Bridge, and the ground has gradually filled up since kick-off, but there are still empty seats inside the stadium tonight, which in the current climate is entirely understandable. Thiago Silva, midway inside the Everton half, wide to the far side, the right, and Azpilicueta. Now James, back towards Thiago Silva again. Jorginho into Pulisic in the central striking position. You hesitate to say the number 9 position these days, as John Joe Kenny wins it back, tries to find a Wobie for Everton. Rudiger though tracks his run, plays it back towards Mendy. Good defending. Mendy though quickly closed down by Sims, and he's found Rudiger by the corner flag on this near side. He clears long downfield, headed away by Holgate. Decore looks to fasten onto it, but he's given the ball away, and Pulisic has just been clipped there by Holgate, who knew what he was doing, and Michael Oliver has given the free kick.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't get a booking there. That was a dangerous break from Chelsea, and you could see that Holgate had been done a kipper, little outside of the right foot turn, and he knew that Pulisic had done him and just slung a leg out to foul him. I'm surprised that he didn't get a booking for that challenge. Bit cynical.
Now Loftus-Cheek finding Jorginho. Alonso on this near side, back towards Rudiger. And Chelsea just content to play keep ball here around the halfway line. Everton dropping very, very deep when they don't have the ball. 14 minutes played, goalless at the Bridge on TalkSport 2. Liverpool against Newcastle will be kicking off on TalkSport shortly. Download the TalkSport app to listen to both games throughout the evening. And the Sports Bar over on TalkSport will be taking your calls following the action. 03717 223344 is the number, as Ziyech has been fouled by Andre Gomez, and it's a free kick for Chelsea, left of centre, around 25 yards from goal.
Yep, dangerous position. Gomez has started the game poorly for me. He's given the ball away 4 or 5 times already. I think he's got a big responsibility tonight as well, being one of the most experienced players right in the heart of this Everton side, and he needs to lead by example, and he's not started the game well, which would be a concern for Rafa Benitez.
James over the free kick along with Alonso, and it's a fairly ragged Everton wall at the moment. Gomez, Gordon and Decore are part of it, and there are so many Chelsea players lining up on the edge of the penalty area. Everton are aware of the various decoys here, but it's curled in by James, and it's fisted away by Pickford. The cross delivered back into the penalty area. Jorginho had a side foot volley 6 yards out, never got hold of it, into the arms of Pickford.
Decent effort, very comfortable I think for Jordan Pickford. He had to dive, but it was very comfortable, good height for him, and then the follow up there wasn't taken advantage of.
Now Holgate, infield again for Keane, as Everton try and build from the back. Keane sprays a good ball wide to the far side, and Godfrey, he can attack the penalty area here. Iwobi in support, so too is Andre Gomez. Left foot shot from him into the crowd, almost breaks for Gordon. It's cleared away by Thiago Silva. Gordon goes down inside the area. Now James has lost out to Iwobi. James though strong enough to win it back. Iwobi almost careers into Azpilicueta, but the Chelsea captain will clear, and some real grit being shown by Everton here as Decore careers into a challenge but then loses out, and Chelsea will try and bring it forward on this near side with Alonso.
Excellent play from Iwobi and Decore, fighting for everything in there, coming out second best, but at least they're showing that fight, and that's what Everton have to do tonight if they're going to stem this slow. They've already conceded 4 or 5 shots, most of them on target. They need to be more aggressive with them tackles and make sure they come out first best.
And the Everton fans respond. All they want to see their team do in this sort of situation really is compete, and they're looking to do that here, but they've given away a free kick in another dangerous area. It was Pulisic who had Decore at his back, and Pulisic was just a bit too clever for him this time, and Decore bit with the challenge, and it's a free kick for Chelsea.
Yeah, I think you look at the front three for Chelsea, and they're all quite small guys, light on the feet. They've got great balance, and it's going to be a nightmare for the big central defenders, the 3 big centre defenders in there, to try and stay with them when they change direction, or when they do a Cruyff or a little trick, and it's very difficult to match that if you're a tall guy. So I think Chelsea are going about it the right way, but at the moment they're being fouled, and it's giving them opportunities from free kicks.
Alonso and James are eyeing this one up for Chelsea once again. It's more central than the previous one, which was turned aside, and it's killed by Alonso into the wall. Rebounds back to James. James with a right foot shot, no backlift, really got hold of that, and it whizzes over the top.
Yeah, good power, just couldn't keep it under the crossbar. Decent effort. It's one of them where you've not really got any spatial awareness, you don't know what's around you, you might as well take the shot on. It's probably about 27 yards out. It's a good strike, but never troubling Jordan Pickford in the Everton goal.
0-0, 18 minutes played here on TalkSport 2. Chelsea have a very good record against sides outside the top 6 this season. 10 wins and just a single draw when Burnley came to Stamford Bridge and drew 1-1, and they've only failed to score in one game, and that was the 1-0 loss here against Manchester City. And they've gone close on a few occasions here as James lifts a high ball into the penalty area. Pulisic will jump with Holgate, and it's volleyed clear by Gomez up to the halfway line. There is a player down, Loftus-Cheek, on the far side for Chelsea, and Azpilicueta will stop play, and Michael Oliver very quickly waves on the medical team.
Yeah, a little bit of concern from his Chelsea teammates there. I'm not sure what the problem is.
And it looks to be moving around as two members of Chelsea's medical staff make their way over to the far side. Rafa Benitez now out on the edge of his technical area, deep in conversation with Abdoulaye Doucouré. Also has words for John Joe Kenny and Ellis Sims as well.
I can't see Rafa Benitez being very happy with this opening 20 minutes because they've conceded 6-7 chances on goal, and it's not for great saves or great defending why they've not scored. It's for probably a little bit lacking clinical finishing from the Chelsea players, but they're creating chances at will, and that'll be a massive concern for Rafa Benitez.
Just watching a replay of the incident with Loftus-Cheek, it was an aerial duel with Ellis Sims, and Sims possibly caught him, and Loftus-Cheek maybe just fell slightly awkwardly as well, and of course he's a big guy.
Yeah, I think it's his right ankle.
Yeah.
But he looks fine to carry on, and I think the medical staff is coming back onto the pitch.
20 minutes played, 0-0 here at Stamford Bridge on TalkSport 2. Early stages at Anfield, also goalless over on TalkSport between Liverpool and Newcastle. And the match between Leicester and Spurs was postponed earlier on today. And if you've just joined us, the games at Old Trafford, Goodison Park, St Mary's, Vicarage Road and the London Stadium are all off this weekend in the Premier League as Holgate again comes in with a challenge, takes down Ziyech and also receives a yellow card as Chelsea have a free kick 15 yards inside the Everton half.
Yeah, I think it was a scissor effect. I think he got something on the ball with his leading leg, but his other leg wrapped around the Chelsea player, and that's why the referee, Michael Oliver, gave the yellow card, and rightly so. Dangerous tackle.
72% possession for Chelsea so far. 8 shots, 4 on target. Everton 1 shot, none on target. Which really tells you how the game is going. Rudiger now threaded through towards the edge of the penalty area, looking for Keane, but it's cleared away up to the halfway line. Sims does well to bring it down on his chest, but Thiago, drawn out to the halfway line, makes the challenge, and it will be a throw-in to Everton on halfway, and Rafa Benitez is in the ear of John Joe Kenny. Every time an Everton player heads anywhere near the technical area, Benitez is out, arms thrust deep into suit pockets to have a word and maybe offer a bit of motivation, as Sims does well to flick the ball on ahead of Rudiger, but Rudiger hooks the ball over his shoulder to clear for Chelsea. Up to the halfway line, now Gomez. Doucouré looks to find a Iwobi, but it's deflected off Alonso, and it will be a throw-in to Everton on this near side.
Good play by Ellis Sims there. That'll give him a little bit of confidence. The ball came into his chest, he got the ball down, ended up winning a throw-in. Thiago Silva just needs to get more touch to the ball. They need to try and find that passing lane into him and give him a chance to stick his backside in and get hold of the ball and bring him into play.
Over on TalkSport, it is Liverpool 0, Newcastle 1. John Joe Shelby scoring against his former club.
Wow.
If you want commentary of that game, reach over to TalkSport. Pulisic now picks up a loose ball, driving forward for Chelsea, wide to the left-hand side, and Ziyech, I think, was going for goal from the wide angle, and it ballooned over the top.
Yeah, a little bit of a waste. He's in a good position there. There's 3 or 4 bodies of his teammates in the box, looking for the cross, looking for reverse movement to try and lose their defenders, and he's gone for goal from quite an acute angle. Got a little bit too much under it, and it went over the crossbar, but a wasted opportunity there from Chelsea.
23 minutes played. You're listening to Chelsea against Everton on TalkSport 2 with WeBuyAnyCar.com. Don't part exchange. Get money off your next car and go to WeBuyAnyCar.com. The ball hits Michael Oliver on the halfway line, so play will be halted. And it was a Chelsea ball that was played forward. Everton is saying, well, hang on, it was a fight ball and it hit you, but the drop ball has been given to Chelsea.
That's poor. It was definitely going to an Everton player, and he's got to read that situation, that scenario, and he's ended up giving possession back to Chelsea. Incorrect decision there by the referee.
11 wins, 3 draws and 2 defeats. Everton 5 wins, 3 draws and 8 defeats. They won 4 of their opening first 6 games, and the Rafa revolution looked to be well on the way at Goodison Park, but things unravelled very quickly.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin was available then, wasn't he? And that's how important someone like Dominic Calvert-Lewin is in this Everton side.
And he papered over cracks last season as well, didn't he?
100%.
Everton finished 10th last season, which was a real disappointment considering the outlay that had been given to Ancelotti. Loftus-Cheek now wide towards James Rowe across the penalty area. Great defending by Holgate. Had to get in front of Pulisic and did to make the challenge 6 yards out. And it's a throw into Chelsea on the far side.
Yeah, great bit of zip, and the ticky-tacky passing there from Chelsea. They just upped the tempo a little bit. You could see that 1 and 2 touching passing. It went out wide, and yeah, good defending by Holgate. Had to make that clearance.
Thiago Silva in towards Mount, flipped with the outside of the boot to find Jorginho. A reminder, Werner, Havertz, Hudson-Odoi and Lukaku not in the Chelsea matchday squad, and the same goes for Delph, Townsend, Gray, Richarlison and Rondon, although we did know for Everton that Richarlison was injured coming into this game, as COVID-19 is clearly biting into the resources of both teams. Now it's Azpilicueta, wide to the far side, and James. Loftus-Cheek, lovely Cruyff turn on the edge of the area, jabbed down the line looking for Mount. It was really expansive play from Ruben Loftus-Cheek, but the final ball just lacking.
Yeah, really lovely disguise on that Johan Cruyff turn there. Both Everton defenders went through it. He then played an outside of the right boot to try and slip in his teammate Mason Mount, who timed his run on the trigger, went towards the byline, just put a little bit too much on his outside of the foot slip pass. Unfortunately for Everton, it went out for a goal kick.
And we mentioned the lack of Richarlison in this Everton team. They have won only 2 of the previous 16 games in which he's been absent for Everton in the Premier League, and he's often been a Marmite figure among some Everton supporters, but clearly he's somebody who gets results for them.
He does. Listen, he's a top player. He's an international. He's got size. He's got goals. He works hard for the team. He just never looks happy. He always looks like he's got a sulk on. I like seeing players who are enjoying it.
Like Calvert-Lewin always seems to, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Smile on the face, working the socks off, enjoying both parts of the game, winning, scoring goals, but also the gritty stuff as well.
26 minutes played, 0-0 at Stamford Bridge on TalkSport 2. Good atmosphere inside the stadium despite the numbers of empty seats. As Rudiger plays it square towards Thiago Silva once again. Now Loftus-Cheek. And Jorginho will turn and loft it over the top, looking for Mount. Branthwaite will try and cover, and he was under pressure there from Mount. His first touch was a nervous one, but in the end is able to scramble the ball out by the corner flag on the far side, taken quickly by Mount, back to Azpilicueta. Now James takes over. Loftus-Cheek all a bit too tight for Chelsea on the edge of the penalty area, and Everton will clear again, but it's another throw-in, and so much of the game has been played to our left around the Everton penalty area.
Yeah, I think Branthwaite, he tried to take a touch to see if he could get a little bit turned and try and clear the ball. He couldn't. You can deal with dealing with a throw-in. If you make a mistake there, it could end up in the back of the net. So good decision by the young defender.
Appeals for handball against Abdoulaye Doucouré on the edge of the Everton penalty area, but it bounced up and hit him. There was no intent at all as he challenged Mount, and correctly Michael Oliver waves away the appeals. Now Thiago Silva. Right to this near side once again, and Azpilicueta takes over. But Everton are defending doggedly here so far. 28 minutes played, 0-0. And Chelsea have created chances, and they've been wasteful, if anything, in front of goal, and that will be a concern for Thomas Tuchel, because they've not been as reliable defensively recently, conceding 7 in their last 4 games after only 4 in their first 12.
Yeah, you can see both units, the back 5, the midfield 4, and even Ellis Sims as well is helping out in there, and they've almost got no threat going forward at all if they win the ball back, Everton, but everyone's working hard and trying to avoid conceding the first goal.
Now Alonso pulls it back into the penalty area, and Mount had to take the shove as it came to him quickly and dig the ball out from his feet, and the right-footed side foot is gathered at the near post by Pickford.
Yeah, quite comfortable, but it's a good run. Again, dangerous down this left-hand side. It's a good ball into the box. I think it's a tiny bit behind Mason Mount, and that's why he has to adjust his body and take it with his back foot. He side foots it with his right foot, and it takes a little bit of a deflection, but it's deflected kindly towards Jordan Pickford.
And myself and Trevor watched Wolves play like this at Manchester City on Saturday, but the difference was Raul Jimenez had already been sent off.
Yeah, it was a huge turning point in the game. I think that's the biggest...
And that's not criticism of Ellis Sims, but he's having to come back because they need him.
They need him, and he's not helping the team, just stood up there. You know, he might be keeping maybe one defender, because I think Chelsea are quite brave and they'll be happy to leave Thiago Silva up against him one-on-one. But he's not needed, so to help the team and contribute, he's coming back into this midfield area, especially with the rotation of that front three.
Keane now being harried by Pulisic again on this near side, but the Everton captain is able to clear the ball away down the line. Now Kenny looking for Iwobi, with the dreadlocks flying as he controls the ball on his chest, but the ball spins out of play, and it will be a throw-in to Everton on this near side.
It's a good out ball for Everton, because Ellis Sims, with his back to goal, with a defender behind him, he seems comfortable in that position. He's a big guy, but he's got a good first touch, and he doesn't mind not turning. He'll play the way he's facing and bring one of his teammates into play, so they need to keep on using him.
And Everton were looking to build on this near side, but the ball eventually drifts out of play, and it will be a throw-in to Chelsea. 2 very different characters inside the technical area. Rafa Benitez, balding, bearded in his suit, and Thomas Tuchel, a slighter figure in the tracksuit bottoms and the Chelsea bench coat under the baseball cap.
78% possession now, Chelsea. It's almost all? Yeah, I know, it's almost all one-way traffic. But fair play to the Everton players. Everyone's sticking to task, doing the work, and it can get difficult, but you've got to enjoy this part of the game, especially when you're coming up against a team that individually they've got better players than you. There's no other way of doing it. And then as maybe a little bit of fatigue comes into some of the Chelsea players, maybe you might be able to go forward and be a little bit more expansive at times.
Well, Everton missing players like Andros Townsend and Damari Gray, who have given them a threat in the wide areas and also scored a few goals for them in the Premier League this season. And this would have been Damari Gray's 150th Premier League appearance this evening, also enjoying his best scoring season in the Premier League already. But Everton are having to make do and mend here with youngsters and players out of position. And with 13 minutes to play in the first half, it's still 0-0. So Rafa Benitez will be happy with what he's seen. And Newcastle still leading at Anfield by 1-0, thanks to John Joe Shelby in the early stages there. As Gordon does well to rob Pulisic on the far side, but it's straight out of play for a throw-in to Chelsea. Taken quickly. Here is Rudiger inside the centre circle. And Everton have everybody back defending behind the ball in every situation like this. Loftus-Cheek back towards Jorginho once again. Now Alonso on this near side, finding Rudiger, and it's one-way traffic but it's also becoming a very patient game for Chelsea as the ball in field from Thiago Silva doesn't stick with Mason Mount in the central area, and Everton clear again.
I think they've got to be a little bit more patient. I think they're trying to penetrate too soon. You know, they go out to the left here, it'll go centrally, and they'll try and put a ball in from an unusual angle, and it's getting cut out, and that's food and drink to the Everton defenders. They've just got to be a bit more patient, probe a little bit more, move the defenders and create spaces where they can then start creating opportunities.
Now Rudiger, wide to the far side once again, into Jorginho. And Azpilicueta making the burst forward, supported by Mount. Clips it back though to James. And James under no pressure at all to bring it forward now. Finding Jorginho. Now Ziyech in the central area, coming in field, looks to work the 1-2 with Mount. It almost breaks back towards Ziyech. And Pickford was a spectator there as he drove the ball towards the far post, and it's half a yard wide.
Yeah, good tempo, good sharpness to that. Nice little turn, sharp 1-2, touch out of your feet, shot, just drags it a little bit on his left side, gets a little bit too much purchase and pulls it across goal, but promising play again by Ziyech. Good defending though, you have to say, by this Everton side. You know, they're all sticking to task. You can see him communicating now. Gordon, a young player, not long made his own debut. He's communicating, he's clapping, telling his teammates, keep going, it's 0-0. And the longer it stays that way, the more confidence this Everton side will start to become.
And 3 of the players brought in tonight were out on loan in the EFL last season. Gordon was at Preston, Sims at Blackpool, where he scored 10 goals in 23 games, and Branthwaite at Blackburn, gaining experience and also gaining the sort of know-how which will help them here this evening.
Yeah, they need to know how to take responsibility in a men's game. You know, looking after the ball, not making any rash decisions, especially if you're a defender. You're a defender first and foremost. Defend, don't take liberties on the ball. And that's exactly what we've seen from Branthwaite. I've been impressed with the way he started this game. He's dispossessed a few of the Chelsea players in dangerous situations. He's headed it when it needs to be headed, and he's cleared it when it needs to be cleared.
And he's cleared the ball behind now, and it will be a corner for Chelsea on the far side. Marcus Alonso will take it. And we have 10 minutes to play in the first half here on TalkSport 2. In-swinger from Alonso towards the 6-yard area. Good header away by Sims. Ziyech hammers the ball back into the forest of legs on the edge of the penalty area. It ricochets back out towards Alonso. He clips the ball in field, and it's a good ball to find Mount. Mount now finding Rudiger inside the penalty area. He looks to work it back towards Mount. Mount going all the way through, and it's blocked by the legs of Pickford. And Mason Mount seemed to have found the avenue of opportunity there, but Pickford stood tall for Everton.
Wow, Rudiger's a centre forward. The way that he took that ball with his back to goal, took another touch just to change the angle, and then slipped Mason Mount in on goal, 1-on-1 with the keeper. I have to say it's a great save by Jordan with his feet. Jordan Pickford stood up, stood his ground, and made sure he was difficult to beat. Mason Mount tried to put it in his bottom left-hand corner, and the right boot of Jordan Pickford kept it out. But brilliant centre-forward play, I have to say, by Antonio Rudiger. Could be a future for him there.
Well, he's been interesting a few with his defensive play.
Ooh. You wouldn't want to play against him, Nigel. You know, you see players go up against him in individual duels, and very rarely do they come out first in them duels. Fantastic defender, not one you want to play against, but you certainly would want him in your side.
And he was a player 12 months ago who was surplus to requirements towards the end of the Frank Lampard era.
Yeah, again, it's just how you use these players and what you expect them to do in that role. And as a defender, there's not many better, especially in this 3-4-3 formation.
Diego Jota has equalised for Liverpool over on TalkSport. 1-1 at Anfield against Newcastle. As Iwobi has lost out on this near side. Loftus-Cheek now finds Pulisic. Pulisic has been fouled again, this time by Andre Gomes. And the bearded Portuguese international throws back his head in despair, but it's a free kick to Chelsea, midway inside the Everton half. But Everton have seen so many of these situations so far in the first half and have repelled every single one of them.
They have, yeah. You can see they've got great spirit, they're sticking to it. You know, they're not getting out of shape too much. Everyone's deep, everyone's prepared to do the graft and suffer for the team. And that's the way it should be when you're playing against a top side and European champions Chelsea.
And not for the first time, Chelsea are finding it hard here at home to break a team down. It was a similar story against Manchester United when they came into that game. United lacking confidence, but almost nicked a result, a victory. Of course, that game was drawn. Burnley got a draw here. Watford ran Chelsea very close before losing. They lost to West Ham, and Leeds should have got something here on Saturday as well.
Yeah, they'll be kicking themselves. They put a lot of effort into that game. Probably the reason they got absolutely destroyed off Manchester City a few days later. But yeah, they have stuttered, especially after the end of last season. Now, imperiously they looked, and the start of this season, how well they started.
Now Sims looks to flick the ball on for Iwobi for Everton, but it's cut out by Chelsea. Rudiger finding Alonso, comes in field, challenged by Kenny, and Kenny was advanced there, and Everton could be caught out on this near side, but they've won it back well. But the ball forward from Gomez strikes Ellis Sims inadvertently, and as a result, Keane will go all the way back towards Pickford once again.
Just a little passage of play earlier, the ball went to Sims, he was obviously going to head it on, and I'm watching Iwobi, and Iwobi's not even anticipating it. And before you know it, he doesn't get there because he anticipates it too late, and the move breaks down. He's got to start anticipating them flicks, because the chances that Everton are going to have to get forward are going to be few and far between, and when they do get them chances, they need to take advantage of them.
Headed back now by James inside the penalty area, and it's gathered by Edouard Mendy, and he has not had a huge amount to do so far this evening, the Chelsea goalkeeper, and he made heavy weather of gathering that one there.
Yeah, it was a little bit soft, the header into him by Reece James. I think he tried to get a little bit more purchase on it to make it a lot safer pass. It was a little bit soft, and I think that's why Ben Godfrey continued chasing it and seeing if he could try and nick something out of the situation.
And Chelsea's women are involved in the Champions League tonight. They are already 2 goals down in an 8 o'clock kickoff away to Wolfsburg. They need a point from that game to be absolutely sure, and rather like Arsenal last night, they need to avoid a heavy defeat to head through level on points with Wolfsburg, and they're already 2-0 down in that game. Juventus will finish top of the group as it stands. They lead Servette by 2-0. So Chelsea, a team who reached the Women's Champions League final last season, in danger of going out in the group stage tonight.
They're disappointed in that, because they have started the season well. Humbled in the final against Barcelona. Really bad start in that game for the women. Hopefully they can learn from that and progress.
And they got West Ham in the WSL at the weekend, and West Ham are improving, making huge strides as well. As Rudiger plays it wide to this near side.
Massive.
And Alonso. And it's cleared away by Everton, but Loftus-Cheek will win it back, and we have 4 minutes to play in the first half here on TalkSport 2. And it's still Chelsea 0, Everton 0, which is not a scoreline we anticipated at this stage when the team sheets arrived an hour before kick-off. But Everton deserve credit for that. Pickford's made a couple of fine saves, and now Gordon coming back to rob Mount, and he was fouled by Mount, and in many ways, Trevor, that epitomises how Everton are playing.
Yeah, I've been impressed with Gordon. I watched him play at Old Trafford. He struggled for probably the opening 20-25 minutes of that game. He looked like he was breathing heavily, but he worked his way back into that game by doing simple things well, and eventually ended up having a pretty decent game. He started this game well, although he's not had a lot of possession. His positional play's been good. He's working hard for the team there, and he anticipated Mason Mount's touch there and won the ball and won the foul for his team, and that's just relieved a bit of pressure for Everton.
Mohamed Salah has scored for Liverpool. They have turned things around, and they lead Newcastle by 2-1 over on TalkSport at Anfield. Don't make them angry. Chelsea coming forward here, 0-0 against Everton. Ziyech wide on the far side, looking to get Branthwaite backtracking, but once again the Everton defender holds his nerve, and Chelsea have to go square. Here is Rudiger. Now Loftus-Cheek is challenged by Gomez, and this match is developing in a similar pattern to the game here I saw against Manchester United, where Chelsea dominated so much of the game but couldn't score. One mistake and they were caught out, and now Alonso has lost out to Gomez, and Everton are streaking forward here. Gomez wide to the far side, and Godfrey, he can break into the penalty area left hand side. Doucouré waiting for the pullback, receives it with his back to goal, has support though out on the edge of the penalty area, and it's Gordon who strikes the shot in, and it's saved by Mendy at the near post.
Excellent play, I have to say, by Godfrey going down the outside. He had to burst of gut to get there. He made that forward run, he broke the line, got it into a good position, he put a decent ball in. Decore just didn't get that first touch out of his feet, had to play it back, and Gordon, yeah, he hit the target, but was never really troubling Mendy. But that'll give me a little bit of confidence there that they can start affecting this game going forward, especially if on transition they're sharp as attack and they get forward in numbers like they did on that last occasion.
Well, Loftus-Cheek back towards Thiago Silva. Loftus-Cheek receives it once again. 2 minutes to go in the first half here on TalkSport 2, and it remains 0-0. Azpilicueta wide to the far side, and Everton are defending so well. There is real togetherness about the way they played so far, and that's not always been evident away from home recently. 4 successive defeats away from home, but they've come here tonight with a patched up team, and at the moment they are just beginning to frustrate Chelsea.
They've had 2 glorious chances, haven't they? Mason Mount's, where it was a good save by Jordan Pickford, and the Reece James one was a real glorious chance, and he didn't make the best of that opportunity.
Now Decore breaks things up once again. He charges over the halfway line. He was bearing down on goal there until he was cut down by Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and it's a yellow card and a free kick to Everton midway inside the Chelsea half.
Yeah, definite booking. Easy one for Michael Oliver, that. Good legs there by Decore shown. Good desire, he wants to get forward, he wants to break that line, and he couldn't do anything about it, and he has to take the booking.
Free kick for Everton. Anthony Gordon will take it. And Everton here have committed plenty of bodies forward. The free kick from Gordon, though, is headed away at the near post by Thiago Silva. Now John Joe Kenny. All the way back towards Pickford, and we have just over a minute of normal time to play in the first half. And we will have a minimum of 2 added minutes here. And Rafa Benitez will be very keen for half-time to talk to his team and encourage them, because the longer the first half has gone on, Trevor, the better Everton have looked.
I agree, Nigel, and I said that, as our fatigue starts to set in, there'll be more opportunities, especially if they don't concede that first goal. If they concede that first goal, it could be as many as you like, take your pick. But if they don't concede, they'll grow in confidence, they'll believe that they can get a point from this game, and if they get a breakaway chance, they may even take 3.
Now Pulisic looking to flick the ball into the penalty area to find Alonso, but there were half-hearted claims for a corner as Michael Keane challenged him, but it's a goal kick, and Everton will take their time here as a number of fans all around the stadium head downstairs for half-time refreshment. We get a wonderful panoramic view of Stamford Bridge from our position here high at the back of the East Stand. And at the moment the Chelsea fans around us are not too happy with what they're seeing. They came here tonight even without so many attacking players, anticipating a goal fest against an Everton team sliding down the table, but Everton have hung in there so far. And the last time they won here, Everton, it was the Dogs of War team under Joe Royle, and there's been a similar spirit about their side so far this evening.
Yeah, and it's going to be needed even more so in the second half. I'm looking at the attacking options that Chelsea have got, and no one really jumps out at you. They're going to have to do it themselves. They could bring Trevor Chalobah on, but you're looking at the squad and there's not that much going forward for Everton.
There's nobody on the bench. Sowell and Ross Barkley possibly attacking midfielders.
That'd be a dagger in the heart of the Everton fans, wouldn't it?
It certainly would be. But that's half-time, and the Everton fans who arrived here with banners telling Rafa Benitez to get out of their club rise to applaud their team, because it is goalless here. Chelsea with all of the best chances in the game very early on. Reece James played through superbly by Jorginho, but he shot over the top. Mason Mount with a really good effort from close range, which was blocked by the legs of Pickford. But apart from that, Everton have held together really well with a host of youngsters in the team, players like Anthony Gordon, Ellis Sims and Jared Branthwaite, and they have grown in confidence the longer the game has gone. Abdoulaye Doucouré has become a real factor for them in midfield, and at half-time, Trevor, it is goalless, and Everton deserve to be in that position. Well, 0-0 at half-time, both teams out for the second half. The stats really tell the story in the first half. Shots, Chelsea leading 13-2. Shots on target, 6-1. Possession, 82% for Chelsea. 420 passes, Everton had 97. But it's 0-0.
It is 0-0, and that's the most important stat there.
A reminder of the two teams once again, no changes at half-time. Chelsea, Mendy in goal, Azpilicueta, Thiago and Rudiger the back three, James and Alonso in the wide areas, Loftus-Cheek and Jorginho in midfield, Mount, Ziyech and Pulisic in attack. For Everton, Pickford in goal, a back five, Kenny, Branthwaite, Holgate, Keane and Godfrey, Iwobi, Doucouré, Gomez and Gordon in midfield, Sims on his own in attack. And Chelsea have got the second half underway in all blue, and they're attacking the Matthew Harding stand away to our right-hand side as we look out from the top tier of the East Stand here on what is still a very mild and very still evening for December. Ziyech now attacking down the left-hand side, looking to take on Holgate, but Holgate does well to make the challenge, comes away with the ball, and only concedes a throw-in on the far side under extreme pressure.
And that's the exact ball that they've got to try and stop, that one into Mason Mount there. He got in a massive pocket of space. They couldn't stop the passing lane into him, so if you can't stop that, you have to get a man closer to him because he's got too much space. It's a good ball out wide, and again, Chelsea start an attack down the right-hand side.
Azpilicueta wide to James on this near side. But again, Everton are happy to funnel him back towards the central area to find Thiago Silva. And Everton's midfield duo of Doucouré and Gomez, very different players, have worked so hard so far to offer the leadership and guidance to the youngsters around them. But Ziyech finding Pulisic, but again it's Doucouré who comes in with the challenge. Now Sims looking to release Iwobi down the right-hand side. Iwobi strong enough to bypass Ziyech, who has gone down, clutching his ankle, but Everton play on here, and they can break with Gordon down the right-hand side. Now John Joe Kenny, challenged by Rudiger. Rudiger was bigger and stronger on this occasion, but there is a player down, Hakim Ziyech, inside the Everton half, and Jordan Pickford has come 40 or 50 yards out of his goal to see how he is. He looked to challenge Doucouré, he bounced off Doucouré and appears to have a problem.
Yeah, and I like how Jordan Pickford waved on the medical staff. I didn't know that was his job. But obviously he's got a problem there, and again it looks like it potentially could be an ankle. There was a coming together, and he's obviously come off second best. But it was a good break down the right-hand side, well-timed run. I think by the time John Joe Kenny got down to the right and to the ball, he was probably out of steam a little bit, and Rudiger does what Rudiger did and won that individual battle and won the throw-in.
Half-time at Anfield over on TalkSport. Liverpool 2, Newcastle 1. Shelvey with the opener, Jota and Salah with two quick goals for Liverpool midway through the first half there. A reminder, the games at Old Trafford, Goodison Park, St Mary's, Vicarage Road and the London Stadium are all off on Saturday due to COVID-19 issues. There are also a number of games already postponed up and down the EFL as well. If you go to talksport.com, there will be a full list of all the games which are currently postponed this weekend. So as it is on Saturday, there are only two games remaining in the Premier League. At 3 o'clock on TalkSport 2, it is Aston Villa against Burnley, and at 5:30 on TalkSport, Leeds against Arsenal. In the Championship, Middlesbrough against Bournemouth is still on, and that would be a 12:30 kickoff on TalkSport 2. And of course, we are due to have 4 Carabao Cup quarter-finals next week on Tuesday. Arsenal against Sunderland, that will be on TalkSport. Then on Wednesday, Liverpool-Leicester on TalkSport. Spurs against West Ham on TalkSport 2. Brentford against Chelsea will be on the TalkSport app. And we will wait and see what happens in the world of football and beyond over the next few days. And of course, Werner, Havertz, Hudson-Odoi and Lukaku not in the Chelsea squad this evening. Delph, Townsend, Gray and Rondon unavailable for Everton. as Mount plays it forward towards Pulisic, wide to Alonso, down the left-hand side now, attacking the Everton penalty area, coming in field, has support from Mount, just has to stretch to control. As a result, Doucouré makes the challenge, but Azpilicueta delivers the cross in, headed away as far as Loftus-Cheek. There were half-hearted appeals for handball against Everton inside the area, mainly from the crowd behind the goal, but nothing given. And Thiago Silva has it again, and you can hear the urgency of the Chelsea crowd as Ziyech gathers inside the area, but his cross is blocked by Holgate. I have to say, I did think that Ziyech was offside there, but nothing given, and it will be a throw to Chelsea on the far side.
Yeah, Holgate remonstrating there with the linesman after the move broke down, saying that was clearly offside. I'm not sure he timed his run perfectly, but he wasn't happy about it, Holgate. But he's still got a job to do, he's still got to stay switched on and deal with the situation, and he did that well.
Now Thiago Silva lofting a ball wide towards the left-hand side again. Ziyech finding Alonso, and the shot from Mount is deflected through the crowd and wide, and Chelsea have their first corner of the second half.
Yeah, it just broke to Alonso, got it on his right-hand side. I think he might have took a deflection from his shot, but Jordan Pickford once again with his left hand, through his left-hand side, tips it round the post. Looked quite comfortable save, but he had to be alert.
Alonso will take the corner on this near side, in towards the near post area, and it's glanced on by Loftus-Cheek and onto the roof of the netting. Pickford came for that and got nowhere near it, and will have been relieved that Loftus-Cheek got underneath the header.
Yeah, he's got to score, Loftus-Cheek, for me. You know, he gets the first contact on the ball. If he hits the target, Jordan Pickford's come out, he's never going to get there, he's in no man's land, and that's the first error from the goalkeeper, and it should have ended up in the back of the net. He got too much purchase on the header, and it went harmlessly over the bar.
Well, Chelsea have won more points away from home so far this season, and they are finding it rather difficult to break Everton down here. They started off in electric fashion, but it got gradually more and more stodgy the longer the first half went on for the home side.
Yeah, and that'll give confidence to referee as well, that they started to grow into the game and started to have more serious attacks going forward. Ellis Sims, you know, he's working his socks off for the side, but he's hardly had a touch of the ball. When he has had it, he's looked after it well. He looks like a good centre forward. A centre forward who, in this scenario like this, with his back to goal, can get hold of it and can bring some of his teammates into play. They need to try and get him into play even more.
Jorginho now looking to thread the eye of the needle, almost picked out Ziyech on the edge of the area. It was another excellent challenge by Godfrey to win it back, and now a high ball played high towards the far post again, and it's volleyed away by John Joe Kenny, and it will be a corner kick to Chelsea on the far side.
Yeah, he did the right thing there, John Joe Kenny. He's not sure what's around him, what bodies are around him. He's not checked his shoulder, and the best thing to do is put out for a corner and deal with the corner. They need to get first contact on this.
And the corner swung into the penalty area, flicked on by Azpilicueta, and it's cleared away eventually, and Everton now will try and break over the halfway line. And it's Anthony Gordon, plays a good ball wide towards Iwobi in a central area, finding Sims, who comes in field, back towards Iwobi again. It's all very tight, and now John Joe Kenny with the shot, and it's too high over the top, and it will be a goal kick. But Everton with another fleeting sight of goal.
Yeah, really good play, I have to say, by Gordon. It looks like he's always going to play the ball down the left-hand side for Ben Godfrey, who's overlapping. He chops it on his right foot and plays the ball inside, and they've got men over. Iwobi's overlapped. He's played the ball to John Joe Kenny, and it kind of just pitters out, but really good, promising attack that from Everton. And on that counter-attack, when they get bodies forward, they do look dangerous, and also Chelsea don't look like they're aware of how dangerous the situation could be, because they were outnumbered there.
But is that often the way when you're so much on top in the game that you forget the details?
Concentration. It's concentration and focus and understanding the scenario. And if you're going to be outnumbered, there's a chance that you could go one behind. You need to do the hard work, do the hard yards, and get back in and help your team. Some of the Chelsea players switched off there.
Well, Chelsea have scored more home goals against Everton than any other club in the Premier League, but they are finding it hard here, and the crowd are just beginning to show their anxiety as well, because Chelsea really cannot afford to drop too many points at home the way things are looking at the moment, and the form of both Manchester City and Liverpool elsewhere, as Pickford just allows a back pass to drift towards his own goal. Then it's played high on this near side, and Azpilicueta hauls down Gordon just in front of the Everton technical area, and it's a free kick for Rafa Benitez's team.
Just watching Thomas Tuchel there, he looks very annoyed with that challenge. You know, the ball's literally going out of play. It's a rushed clearance from Jordan Pickford after a bit of a dodgy first touch, and they've just let him off the hook there and won a foul in quite a dangerous area, which Everton in return have absolutely wasted and just kicked out a play for a goal kick.
Well, Thomas Tuchel really is a details man, and he will be annoyed that his team are in the second half rather losing their way. We played 55 minutes, it is 0-0. They've had one or two opportunities, but the early fluency we saw from Chelsea now seems a long time ago.
And this is what happens when you miss a lot of chances. You know, when you're complacent in front of goal, you think another chance is going to come, and all of a sudden the flow of the game can change, and it seems like the flow of this game is changing. Everton are growing in confidence and they're starting to pose more of a threat.
And we welcome listeners from TalkSport back here at Stamford Bridge. 55 minutes played, it's still Chelsea 0, Everton 0. And Everton are growing in confidence here, and Chelsea, not for the first time in recent weeks, looking rather ragged. They have not built on a fine start to this game. Jordan Pickford made a couple of fine saves late in the first half, and now Everton are coming forward again with Godfrey with a shot, and it was on target, and Mendy had to make the save at the near post.
Yeah, well done by Gordon. He was outnumbered there. He went up for the header, forced a mistake by Azpilicueta. The ball broke for Godfrey. If he had the awareness and the vision, he could have picked out Ellis Sims, who was all alone just inside the 18-yard box. He would have had time to take a touch and get his shot on target.
Chelsea, without a recognised striker on the bench, without a recognised striker on the field, are making heavy weather of this. Commentary continues on TalkSport 2. It is 0-0 at Stamford Bridge, as a foul on this near side will lead to a free kick for Chelsea. Reece James, the player who has been caught, and it's a free kick wide on the right-hand side. But the youngsters for Everton, Gordon, Sims and Branthwaite, they've all been terrific.
They've turned up, they're playing like men, they're taking responsibility. They've not had a lot of the ball. I think it was 82% to Chelsea in the first half, so they're having to graft their socks off out of possession, but they're getting on with it, and that is, I mean, you've got to praise Rafa, because he's told them that this is going to be the case, playing a 5-4-1.
James with a free kick into the penalty area, and it's Luis Azpilicueta with a shot on the turn, and it's high over the top. And Everton had so many bodies there between Azpilicueta and the goal. It was very difficult to get the ball through them or over them, and as a result it was lofted.
Yeah, I think that's why he's a defender. He doesn't get in them situations so much. He would have been better served there, recycling the ball and just keeping it alive. He was off balance, it was going away from him, he was on an angle, and he's gone for glory, and he's not got that.
And you're listening to Chelsea against Everton on TalkSport 2 with Now. And don't forget, with a Now Sports Day membership, you can stream all the Sky Sports action, including Leeds versus Arsenal, live this Saturday for just $9.99 without a contract. Search Now Sports. 57 minutes played. Chelsea 0, Everton 0. And 0-0 draws have been the best that Everton have been able to take from Stamford Bridge in recent years, but Chelsea here pushing hard again with Loftus-Cheek. Almost found Pulisic inside the area, but it's Branthwaite who wins it, and the central defender charging forward, and he's being cleaned out by Jorginho close to the halfway line, and it's a yellow card for Jorginho.
Great play, I have to say, from Branthwaite. You know, he moves really well with the ball. He stepped in, went past one player, left Mason Mount for dead, cut across his body so he couldn't touch him, and then got his touch perfectly right just before Jorginho could make the challenge, and Jorginho just took him out. A little bit cynical. He knew what the situation was and the scenario was. If he got through that challenge, he was driving right at the heart of the Chelsea back three, and he wasn't prepared to allow that.
Once again, Everton waste the free kick long and high and into the arms of Edouard Mendy at half-time in the Women's Champions League. Chelsea trailed 2-0 at Wolfsburg. Juventus are leading Servette 2-0 in their game, and at the moment Chelsea are in real danger of being knocked out of the Women's Champions League at the group stage. Lewis Dobbin is about to come on for Everton, 18-year-old. He's a striker born in Stoke, and this will be his third appearance from the bench as Pulisic looks to fasten on to a reverse ball played into the area by Mount. Mount, though, head in hands before Pickford swooped on it because he knew it was overhit.
Yeah, put a little bit too much on that. Good idea, received it on his back foot, beautiful first touch manipulation, played a little slip ball in but put far too much. Jordan Pickford still had to be alert and get there first, and he did exactly that.
Play downfield by Pickford. Ellis Sims will be the player withdrawn.
Pickford's got to sort his kicking out. He keeps on giving possession back to Chelsea, and his manager's not happy with him.
Now Loftus-Cheek challenged on this near side by Branthwaite. Branthwaite points for the ball, but Michael Oliver disagrees, and it's a free kick here for Chelsea, wide on the right hand side, about 25 yards from goal. And Jared Branthwaite is beginning to become rather expansive in his play, and that could be dangerous for Everton. They've got to sit in, haven't they?
It could be. He's getting a little bit excited because they're starting to turn the flow of this game. I think he's done very well getting away with a yellow card there, because he slid in, he was late, and he's took the player out, which under normal circumstances, when you take Loftus-Cheek out like that, you should get booked. He's let him off for that, but he needs to stay in his position, keep the shape of the team, and keep defending.
James over the free kick on this near side, the right, lofted high towards the far post, great delivery, headed wide by Antonio Rudiger, and he knows he should have scored.
In defence for Antonio Rudiger, I think there was a foot up that just took his eye off the ball a little bit, just as he was about to head it, and that's what you have to do as a defender. He'll still look at it and think that's a wasted opportunity, but again, last-ditch tackling, last-ditch efforts to try and affect the ball going in their net by the Everton defenders.
Change made for Everton, Sims off, Dobbin on.
Yeah, the crowd didn't like that. I feel the Everton fans will appreciate what Ellis Sims has brought, but they maybe think that's been premature, bringing him off.
Well, Lewis Dobbin has a real opportunity here, half an hour at Stamford Bridge. Smaller in stature than Sims, but it just shows the lack of options for both teams in terms of attack this evening. Everton without Richarlison and Rondon. Calvert-Lewin, of course, is a longer-term absentee as James chases another long ball. Fisted away by Pickford inside the area, and James took him out very late there. Pickford really does well for James. He got to his feet, said he was okay, and there was no remonstration from the England goalkeeper with his international teammate, but James there was rash.
Wow, I'm surprised. I think the reaction from Jordan Pickford has done Reece James a whole heap of good. For me, that was a yellow card. He had nowhere near the chance of getting to the ball before Jordan Pickford. Jordan Pickford came out off his line really quick. He was in control of the situation. He didn't want to catch it, he wanted to punch it, and as he punched it, Reece James threw his body into him. Looked like he wounded him a little bit, but Jordan Pickford did superbly well by getting up and giving Reece James a bit of a cuddle.
And he deserves credit for that.
He does. England teammates not wanting to get his teammate booked, but still, Michael Oliver shouldn't take that into consideration. It's a dangerous tackle.
Now Jorginho, pressurised by Dobbin, plays it back in field. We have played 62 minutes here on TalkSport 2. 0-0. And Chelsea again putting themselves under pressure. Reece James, though, has been fouled on this near side by Gordon. And you can hear the crowd here beginning to show the urgency off the field. They're wanting Chelsea to show on it.
Yeah, it's not quite working. The rotation's there, but
another late challenge on the halfway line for Andre Gomez, who looks to scamper away from the challenge to try and avoid the yellow card, but Michael Oliver knew exactly who he was. It was Pulisic who he crunched into from behind, and it's a free kick on the halfway line for Chelsea.
Yeah, I don't understand that challenge. Pulisic is going nowhere. You know, he's facing his own goal. It looks like he's going to play the ball backwards, and he comes over the top and rakes down the front of his shin. It's a silly challenge, and I said in the first half I've been disappointed with Gomez because I'm a big fan of his. I think he's got great qualities both in and out of possession, but he's not been a great leader and shown his experience tonight like he should have done.
Now Mount, 25 yards from goal, has to go wide to the left-hand side. Ziyech almost found Mount again, but there was too much pace on the cross in from the left, and Everton will clear. Dobbin grappling with Rudiger, and he's giving about 3 feet to him there. But credit to him, he still had a go.
His game, yeah, I love that. Can't shirk any responsibilities on the pitch.
Ziyech with another cross in, which is way overhit. Jordan Pickford, like a bird of prey, arms outstretched, waves that ball through, and it will be a goal kick, and Chelsea are making changes here, and really it's the only changes they can make to try and change the game in an attacking sense. Saul and Barkley are coming on. Loftus-Cheek and Alonso are coming off.
Yeah, we said that. There's not many options in forward areas for Chelsea off the bench. He might be changing the system. Alonso's coming off and Loftus-Cheek. And we mentioned it in the first half, Ross Barkley, that would be a dagger in the heart if he was to enable himself to get a goal scoring chance and score the winner in this game.
So are Chelsea going to a back four, or is Pulisic going in as the wing-back on the left-hand side? It will be interesting to see how that pans out. 25 minutes to play, 0-0. Keane with a long ball forward for Everton. Taken down well by Gordon with his back to goal on this near side. And the ball down the channel looking for Kenny is blocked by James. Everton have a throw in taken quickly, but Gordon has given the ball away. It's cleared away by Saul. And of course Ross Barkley coming on against the team with which he grew up. Came through the academy at Everton, made his debut in the Premier League as a teenager before moving on to Chelsea. And at the age of 28 he is one of a number of players possibly with his career approaching a crossroads, or maybe he's been at that crossroads for some time.
He has, yeah, and there's been fits and starts where he's come in and done well and affected games, but it's just not consistently playing enough football. He's not getting enough minutes.
Now Mount, another ball clipped forward, but it's beyond Ziyech and gathered by Pickford. And Everton here will beginning to count down the clock. 24 minutes to go. Gordon chests it back towards Gomez, who maybe thought about the challenge and then still made the challenge on Mount whilst on a yellow card. No free kick given, although it was a rumbustious tackle, and now it's cleared downfield up towards the halfway line by Pickford. And Chelsea here are making really hard work of this.
Yeah, they are. Dobbin there showing great work ethic, getting across, putting a lot of pressure on Azpilicueta as he looked to release the ball and letting himself be known as well, letting himself be felt. He just left a little bit on him, not a foul, but just shoulder to shoulder, letting him know that he's not going to have a minute's rest while he's on the pitch.
Now Rudiger forward towards Saul, but the challenge comes in from Decore to outmuscle him. Gomez now with a high ball forward, 2 against 2 for a second for Everton, but Dobbin sees his route to goal cut off by Thiago Silva. The 37-year-old outwitting the 18-year-old.
I think now they've matched up. Now Chelsea have matched up with Everton with the shape, with the 5 at the back. I think Everton look a little bit more comfortable, and this could be the undoing of them.
Here is Barkley coming forward now for Chelsea. Midway inside the Everton half. Square to Ziyech. And the ball wide to this right-hand side from Ziyech is quickly cut out by Godfrey, who sprints forward now for Everton. He's directing the traffic. He wants Dobbin to create the space, but Godfrey may go himself in. All the way into the penalty area, almost forced for Iwobi, and it's cleared away. Everton were looking for a free kick on the edge of the box, but now they've got so many players upfield they could be called out themselves. Here is Barkley now. Nobody to his left-hand side, wide open spaces. Now the run is made by Saul, but Everton have had the opportunity to get players back.
Brilliant run by Godfrey, did everything right, drove right at the heart of the Chelsea defence, got into a great position, played a little slide pass, which was Cruyff, and the midfield were just too far away to get on that Cruyff and come onto a shot from about, 14 yards out. Good play by Everton.
Azpilicueta now, back towards Ziyech again. And now Rudiger, midway inside the Everton half. 68 minutes played on TalkSport 2. 0-0 here at Stamford Bridge. James with a low ball into the penalty area. Mount looking to turn, but the shot is blocked by Keane.
Yeah.
Everton have defended superbly. Now Rudiger. Another poor ball forward, cut out by Keane. And Decore will look to break forward now for Everton once again. He's got the speed of Gordon out to his left-hand side. There's an overload to the right. Iwobi was clean through, but the pass from Decore is blocked by Thiago Silva. And it's Everton's turn to track back now because Barkley's coming forward. He finds James, wide towards Mount, breaks into the penalty area, and Mason Mount comes up with the opening goal, drives it high beyond Pickford, and Chelsea finally have the breakthrough here here at Stamford Bridge. Relief sweeps around the stadium, and yet again it is Mason Mount who has dug them out of a hole. Chelsea 1, Everton 0.
I have to say, I mentioned it when Everton were playing a 5 and Chelsea matched them up. I thought the game would open up. Everton seemed to press a lot higher up the pitch. The game became very open, and I said that could be the undoing of Everton just getting a bit too expansive, and that's exactly what happened. They had a couple of breakaway attacks. They were left open there. Excellent play from James. Little slide rule passing for Mount. Took a touch, steadied himself, and he didn't make any mistake on this occasion. 1-0 to Everton, Mason Mount. Chelsea even.
He becomes the first player for Chelsea since Eden Hazard back in November of 2016 to score in 4 successive Premier League games. Everton have also made a change in the aftermath of that goal, and it's Jean-Philippe Gbamin who has come on, and it's Andre Gomez who has gone off. And now Everton have to chase the game. A goal down and a long raking ball from Gordon wide to the far side is out of play. And with 20 minutes to play, Chelsea lead here by a goal to 0. It has not been pretty, but in the circumstances, with so many players out, they would just be happy to take 3 points here.
Yeah, and listen, that was all that was missing first half. I thought Chelsea did move the ball well. They got in a lot of goal-scoring opportunities, but they were just a little bit sloppy in front of goal. On this occasion, the game became a little bit more open and expansive. It was a counter-attack. They just defended the situation against Everton, and it was great control, I have to say, from the ball from Reece James. He steadied himself, took an extra touch, and put it into, well, just over the goalkeeper Jordan Pickford, who didn't feel like he had the trigger or the opportunity to try and gamble on one of Mason Mount's touches, because that's how close he kept the ball once he got the ball in that position. So good goal, clinical finishing.
But that goal came from Doucouré not spotting the run wide to the right hand side.
By Gordon, yeah, he tried to go inside where he had a free pass on the outside, and they committed a lot of players forward, Everton, on that occasion, and they were wide open to that counter attack.
Now Mount again, 7 goals in the Premier League for him this season. It's his best goal-scoring season in the Premier League. And of course, last season, Chelsea's top goal scorer was Jorginho. He got 7, and they were all penalties.
Yeah, it was ironic because on that move prior to the goal, Doucouré was a one-on-one with Jorginho, and when you come up against a player who's so much quicker than you and can cover the ground a lot quicker than you, Jorginho didn't want any part of that race, and instead of tracking him, he just headed straight to his own goal, which he taught to do.
Liverpool leading Newcastle still by 2 goals to 1 over on TalkSport. If you download the TalkSport app and go to the live games section, you can swipe between both of the commentaries currently underway across the TalkSport network. As Everton try and come forward now with Gordon. Was he clipped? Yes, he was, by Reece James. It will be a free kick for Everton on this near side with 17 minutes to play. A goal down, and they're heading for their 5th defeat in 6 games, but the performance from Everton has been much better than what they produced in many games recently.
Yeah, you couldn't ask for more from this, 11, 13 players that have played in the game, from the goalkeeper Jordan Pickford all the way through to Ellis Sims in the first half, and the substitutes that have played their part as well. And they're still a threat going forward. Now they've got to chase the game. There may be more opportunities opening up for Chelsea as well.
Free kick, which Gordon will take, and then swing a high towards the far post. Great delivery, and Everton have the equalising goal. An extraordinary moment for Jared Branthwaite. The teenage defender has come up with the equaliser, and moments after Chelsea thought they had the game won, one of Everton's youngsters has come back with a massive moment. It is Chelsea 1, Everton 1, a totally unexpected twist in the title race, and Rafa Benitez could be coming back to haunt Chelsea here.
I can't tell you how good that free kick was from Anthony Gordon. It's an absolutely superbly flighted ball into the far post area. It's a fantastic finish by Braithwaite. He had to stretch every inch of his body to get on the end of it. Mendy couldn't do anything about it. He couldn't come for the ball. It was too low, the trajectory of the ball. The finish was superb. But I have to say, Anthony Gordon, seeing him develop over this season has been a joy. What a brilliant cross into the box that was.
Wow, 1-1. And it's the Everton fans who are jubilant here. A number of them tried to get onto the field of play to celebrate that goal, but they were held back by the stewards and the police. And Jared Branthwaite, 19 years of age, a first career goal. What a place to get it. What a time to get it.
He's played well. He has played well, Nigel. He stepped in a few times. He stuck to his task. He's got a lot of nimble, quick players around him that he's having to try and deal with, and he's stuck to his task. And not only that, he's only got the equaliser for Everton. What a debut.
15 minutes to play. 1-1 at Stamford Bridge. 2-1. Liverpool lead Newcastle over on TalkSport. Our unrivaled coverage of the Premier League this week across the TalkSport network. And we could have a real sting in the tail here. Gordon coming forward again now. Lovely cross into the penalty area, looking for Dobbin at the near post, but it was deflected behind. Everton have a corner, and they're chasing the second goal.
Yeah, Anthony Gordon again gets the ball out wide, 1-on-1 with Azpilicueta. He shows him a clean pair of heels with his pace and his ability to get it onto his left foot. He fires across, a vicious cross with his left foot, anywhere across the edge of the 6-yard box, and it's defended well by the Chelsea defenders.
Gordon will take the corner for Everton on this near side. Whipped in towards the near post again. It's flapped up by Mendy, and it's cleared. Now, was that a penalty as the Everton play went down? Well, a free kick's been given against Dobbin, and he's booked, presumably for simulation.
Wow. I mean, that happened very quickly. It looked like he got there first and was tripped, but there's not that much demonstration coming from Dobbin. He'll have to get that out of his game because he's been booked. But I thought it was a penalty when I first seen that, Nigel. I've got to say, I thought it was a penalty. I'm just looking at the monitor now, at the replays. I think he's holding it for VAR. I think he's holding it.
Well, he is holding it. Darren England is the VAR at Stockley Park.
I'm gonna call it now. I think Michael Oliver's got it right.
Yeah, and play continues. Yeah. The check is over.
Naughty boy.
Well, we have 13 minutes to play. 1-1. If it stays like this here and at Anfield, the top of the table will be Manchester City, 41 points, Liverpool 40 points, Chelsea 37. They would lose more ground. They were top for 9 weeks, Chelsea, until that loss at West Ham. And they could be dropping more points here at Stamford Bridge. But Everton are producing something here which we've not seen from them for many, many weeks, particularly away from home where they've lost 4 on the trot.
Yeah, they've defended superbly well. So much resilience amongst the side. And it's great when you've got a young player. Jared Branthwaite came into the side. He's stuck to his task. He's been helped by Godfrey on his left-hand side and by Michael Keane. We've got a lot more experience than him, but he's looked as good as any of them, and chipping in with a goal as well. What a debut for the young man.
And you're listening to Chelsea against Everton on TalkSport 2 with WeBuyAnyCar.com. Don't part exchange. Get money off your next car and go to WeBuyAnyCar.com.
And if any of the Everton fans think that Rafa has not got this group of players and has not got a good team spirit and doesn't know how to coach, they've got to watch this game back, because I think they've executed the game plan superbly well, and it's very unselfish the way they've gone into this game. They said, you can have the ball, we're going to trust ourselves to defend, stick to our task today and try and get something out of this game, and it's exactly what they're doing up until now.
Azpilicueta could be about to come off wide towards Mount on this near side. He's closed down though by Godfrey, and it will be a Chelsea corner, and the change will be made now. Azpilicueta coming off and Trevor Chalobah coming on. Well, he scored 1 or 2 important goals for Chelsea this season, and they need one here.
They certainly do. They don't want to lose more ground at the top of the table. 1-1 with literally 11 minutes to go plus injury time.
And Everton have won 3 times this season after conceding the opening goal. Barkley with the corner. Downward header turned aside superbly by Pickford. It was Thiago Silva who was left on his haunches, head in hands. A powerful downward header, and that's a brilliant save by Pickford.
Yeah, great ball. I think Rafa will be asking questions why he was so alone. Jackknife finish, gone up well, headed it down. It's a brilliant save.
Another corner, an in-swinger. Rudiger this time with the header, and this time it's a more routine save for Pickford, gathering both hands above his head.
Yeah, simple one that. Gathering it well, just slowing play down a little bit now, Jordan Pickford, as you'd expect your goalkeeper to do.
Everton have the weekend off, of course. Their match at home to Leicester has been called off. Manchester United against Brighton, Southampton against Brentford, Watford against Crystal Palace, and West Ham against Norwich also postponed due to issues with COVID-19. If you go to talksport.com, there is a full list of games called off currently in both the Premier League and the EFL. Chelsea are due to play Wolves on Sunday, and Chelsea's women are heading out of the Champions League. They are 3-0 down away to Wolfsburg. They now need to score 2 goals in the remaining 25 minutes or so to go through. And that will be a massive blow for Emma Hayes and her team. A clean sweep of trophies last season, but they could be going out of the competition. They really want to win.
Well, especially because we got to the final last year as well.
But realistically, everybody's a long way behind Barcelona at the moment, but you never know. But at the moment, Chelsea are going out. This will not be a good night for Chelsea. The women losing an important game, and the men about to drop more points at home here in the Premier League title race. Only 2 games still on Saturday. We are due to bring you Villa against Burnley on TalkSport 2 at 3, and Leeds against Arsenal on TalkSport at 5:30. Middlesbrough against Bournemouth from the Championship will be on TalkSport 2 at 12:30. And then beyond that, we have to be honest, who knows? Here is Rudiger finding Thiago Silva. Now Chalobah on this near side, challenged though by Gordon. He's been a contender for man of the match, it must be said. Gordon now moving forward again, rides the challenge of James, gets back to his feet. Gamin, but he is lost out. And the turnover again could give Chelsea the opportunity to break themselves here. Barkley threading forward, but Godfrey recovers well. Gamin, he's lost it though on the edge of the area, and it's cleared away by Gordon. Rebounds off Barkley into the penalty area where Pickford will gather. And we have 8 minutes to play, 1-1.
Yeah, and the flow of the game has completely changed. There's a lot more belief about these Everton players. The ball just seems to be breaking for them a little bit more than it did in the first half. Any little ricochets is bouncing down to an Everton player. That might be anticipation as well. The lads are a little bit more alert, a little bit more hungry. There's a lot more belief in this Everton side, and they're causing a few problems themselves. But like you just said, Nigel, Anthony Gordon down this left-hand side, he's been outstanding.
Here is Thiago Silva for Chelsea. 1 or 2 fans beginning to drift away from Stamford Bridge now, but none of them are Everton supporters. They are in full voice, urging their team on.
Away fans, you've got to love them.
Well, they had a fairly grim afternoon on Sunday at Selhurst Park, and they saw their team lose by 3-1. But it's been a different sort of performance tonight. Here is Mount though for Chelsea, down the right-hand side, clips in the cross, headed away by Holgate, quickly recovered though. Here is Chalobah, Mount again now, and the ball loops up high off the boots of the left-back Godfrey, and then Pickford comes a long way to fist the ball out of play. Not sure he couldn't have caught that.
I think he did well. I'm not sure it was too close to the line to try and catch it, so he wanted to avoid the corner, and in the end I think that's good decision making from Jordan Pickford.
Here is Thiago Silva. Everton looking to protect their point here. 6.5 minutes to play, 1-1. James again on this near side. Back out towards Thiago Silva, who is the last man for Chelsea, 35 yards from the Everton goal, which tells you how the game is progressing now. Now Chalobah once again, finding Jorginho, and Everton are doing so well just to hold things up. And Chelsea are not moving the ball quickly enough, are they, Trevor?
They're not, and they're getting a little bit frustrated. I think they're trying to go too soon to goal. They've got to move the ball, create spaces amongst either the lines or the players in the Everton defence, and they're not moving the ball swiftly enough to do that. It's all too comfortable for the Everton defence.
Still 2-1 to Liverpool over on TalkSport. James with the free kick into the penalty area, flicked on by Pulisic. It's gathered by Alonso, lofted high to the far post, beyond the far post. And a number of the Chelsea fans behind that goal very unhappy with Marcus Alonso.
Yeah, he's got to keep that in play. He's got to wrap his foot round it. It's on his left-hand side. He's got a good first touch. He's on the half volley. Just help it into a little area. Second 6-yard box. Loads of bodies there. And ask your teammates who wants to get on the end of this. He doesn't do that. He looks for the far post. And he gets too much purchase on the ball, and it goes harmlessly over the bar and wastes valuable seconds for this Chelsea side who are trying to get the winner.
5 minutes to go on TalkSport 2 at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 1, Everton 1. Pickford clears downfield again, headed away by Chalobah, flicked on by Barkley, and now Mount will look to use his pace on this near side and go beyond Branthwaite. Branthwaite goes to Brown, makes the challenge, wins the ball, but it's a corner.
Yeah, good defending. Again, Mason Mount showcasing his speed and how quick he is. Branthwaite thought he had him covered, and then all of a sudden he just put on the turbo booster and went straight past him. He had to slide tackle and put it out for a corner.
Corner kick which Ross Barkley will take against his former club here. Everybody back defending for Everton. Deep from Barkley as Rudiger goes down, looking for something, but nothing has been given. Dobbin, though, is fouled by James on the far side, and Everton have the free kick.
Yeah, a little bit impatient there by Reece James. Too forceful. The ball's in good possession by Dobbin. He's going nowhere. He's going out towards the sideline, and he's too forceful into the back of him. And we know he dives anyway. He just dived in the box to try and win a penalty. He's gone straight over, and it just again wastes valuable seconds for Chelsea to try and get themselves back in the lead in this game.
Pickford will take the free kick. He's only about 15 yards inside the Everton half, and he gets good distance, but it's a poor one onto the head of Alonso on the far side. Not Alonso, Saul, I should say. And it's cleared away. Now Everton will try and break into the area. With Dobbin, delivers the cross in. Chalobah clears only as far as Iwobi. Iwobi, though, is robbed by an excellent challenge on the edge of the box. And Everton again threatening a winning goal themselves as Doucouré plays it wide to Iwobi. On the far side, here is Dobbin now. Onside as he breaks into the penalty area. Turns inside beyond Thiago Silva and then loses his footing at the crucial moment. And it's gathered by Mendy. Everton so close to a winning goal there.
End to end this game. I mean, that was such a... If Dobbin knew that he had that much time, he could have turned and got his shot off with his right foot. He almost thought the defender was going to be there and took the safer option.
3 minutes to go, 1-1. Chalobah on this near side again. Wide towards James. And Chelsea here pouring forward, but again they are moving the ball around much too slowly to really trouble the defence, which are now well set, and as a result the ball in from Chalobah goes all the way through towards Pickford, who just beckons Pulisic towards him and then drops on the ball to waste valuable seconds.
I think they've been too impatient in the build-up. I think they should go side to side, right to left, left to right, and keep on working this dogged Everton defence. They've gone to penetrate far too soon, and more often than not the Everton defenders are ready and set and waiting for that ball to come in, and they're getting the first contact.
Now Keane has been caught by Ziyech, but it bounces into the path of Dobbin. Dobbin slides it through towards Iwobi, and he is clear for Everton. Down the right-hand side, needs support into the penalty area. Iwobi now does find the support from John Joe Kenny. The crossing, though, is headed away by Jorginho. And now Mason Mount has it for Chelsea on this near side. Chalobah, 90 seconds of normal time to play. Chelsea 1, Everton 1. And this has been a thrilling second half. Everton are about to bring Tyler Onyango on, another 18-year-old.
Wow.
But Rafa Benitez has found some young players who could really do a job for him here tonight in the longer term.
I mean, fair play. You have to give credit to the coaches for nurturing these young men through to be able to play at this level at such a young age. We've got 4 of them on the pitch now, and they've all gave a really good account of themselves.
Pickford clears downfield again into the 90th minute. Gordon chasing, Chalobah having to backpedal. Gordon looks to rob him on this near side. Chalobah very uncomfortable, plays the back pass towards Mendy. He's closed down by Dobbin. The clearance is headed back by Doucouré. And now Gamine twisting and turning inside the Chelsea half, finding Godfrey on towards Dobbin, and now Doucouré once again showing his strength to ride the challenges. Then he goes down and he was caught, and it will be a free kick to Everton.
Brilliant play, great individual play by Doucouré. He had 2 or 3 Chelsea players around him there, and he had to have close control, strength, awareness, and he had all of that, and he had the ability to get himself out of that situation and win a foul for his team, and again eat into valuable seconds, into these dying seconds of this match, which is, it's been a game of 2 halves, hasn't it, Nigel? First half it was the Alamo, Chelsea going forward time and time again. Second half I think it's been, although the possession's still 80% to Chelsea, it's been much more level on chances created.
Minimum of 5 more minutes as Tyler Onyango replaces Anthony Gordon, who gets a rousing reception from the Everton fans. John Joe Kenny with the free kick, which is flicked on by Keane, and it's gathered inside the area, but there are 2 players down here, Keane and Sowell, and play may be halted to assess the head injuries by Michael Oliver.
Rightly so.
And Keane is just taking a moment. Sowell is already back on his feet, and Everton here are closing in on an unlikely but a very welcome point.
Yeah, still 4.5 minutes to go. Still plenty of football in this game, and there's a bit of desperation now from this Chelsea side.
It's bowled out towards Thiago Silva, but he looks up and sees 11 very determined, battle-scarred Everton players ahead of him.
Yeah.
Now Thiago Silva once again. And there is nothing going on for Chelsea further forward. No movement, no real invention. Thiago Silva almost gives the ball away to Dobbin. Now moves forward himself. It's wide to the left-hand side. And Ziyech. Here is Rudiger. Square towards Chalobah. What can he do here in the closing seconds? As Chelsea chase this game, look to chase the winning goal. As it's played forward towards Thiago Silva, he tries to link up on the edge of the penalty area with Sowell. Well, it's Branthwaite who brings the ball clear, but now he has given the ball away. It's threaded forward towards Sowell again, wide to this near side, and James on towards Mount, right side of the penalty area, crossed into the penalty area, headed away by Keane at the near post. Dobbin will bring the ball down for Everton, and he will just launch it forward, long downfield. And the Everton fans happy with what they've seen from their youngster there.
Yeah, he did brilliant there in that scenario. He looked tugged on to lose out in that situation, but got a head there, then got a shoulder to the ball, and then just volleyed it up the pitch, took the pressure off his teammates. Excellent play from the young centre forward.
Clock against Chelsea here in added time, about to drop more points at home. Barkley still getting boos from the Everton fans even in the 93rd minute. Now Rudiger on the halfway line. Plenty of room for him, but again Chelsea are so static. Here is Thiago Silva finding Jorginho. Challenged by Dobbin, back towards Thiago Silva again. Everton here have got everything bottled up at the moment. It'll take something special for Chelsea to prize a winning goal from this game.
It will. Or a mistake.
Ziyech now on the left-hand side, in towards Barkley, challenged by Doucouré, headed away on the edge of the area by Kenny, and now Iwobi will try and keep the ball in play, but it's a throw-in to Chelsea on the far side. Thrown back towards Thiago Silva. 15 yards inside the Everton half. The Everton fans in great voice, but here is Mason Mount, but he's only picked out Keane on the edge of the area. He plays it long downfield. Dobbin will chase gamely, but it's all the way through towards Mendy. Significant moments for both clubs here in the season.
Yeah, a lot of the home fans starting to leave.
And they will be disappointed with what has been served up, having taken the lead as well. Now Chalobah on this near side. Back again towards James, crossed into the penalty area, hooked away on the edge of the 6-yard box by Keane. Doucouré's back header is straight to Jorginho. Now Ziyech. Wide towards Chalobah, on the right again. Chalobah twisting and turning away from so many Everton players.
Brilliant defending by Everton. You can see triggers when their man's on the ball, going pressing it, not being passive like they were in the first half. Excellent defending from Everton.
Onyango has lost out on this near side. James in towards Ziyech again, twisting and turning. Barkley with space on the edge of the penalty area, threaded through towards Pulisic. Pulisic's done well to keep the ball in play. It's wide towards Rudiger on the far side. He'll need to wriggle his way beyond John Joe Kelly. He delivers the cross in. It's gathered by Pickford, and that should be that.
Wow. I mean, the triggers there, and I say when the ball's being moved laterally from one Chelsea player to the next, you can see the players coming off that line, that midfield line, closing the ball down, trying to get a bit of the action, trying to get a touch on the ball, not passively just getting out there in their own time. That's coached. That is Rafa Benitez. That is a trait of his size, and they're doing that superbly well tonight, Everton.
Chelsea fans leaving in their thousands here, but we still play on. Thiago Silva fighting Rudiger. He's got to get the ball forward quickly here. Another look at the watch from Michael Oliver. Now Thiago Silva, and that is it. Boos from the Chelsea supporters. More drop points here at Stamford Bridge, but a heartening point for Everton with a team patched up, full of youngsters. They have come here, shown real character, and deserve their draw.
They absolutely did. Nigel, I thought that was an excellent performance. They showed great spirit, fantastic organisation, and the will to run and run and run out of possession. They were dogged, they got their heads on the ball when it came into their box, and I have to say the young boy Bramthwaite at the back, Jared Bramthwaite, he was outstanding. You know, what a debut to have, coming to Stamford Bridge, playing against the European champions, not only playing a part and in a great team performance, but then getting your team back in it when you go 1-0 down and managing to get on the score sheet. A day he'll never forget.